All right, I'd like to introduce a face that is no longer new to some of us, Dr. Herman Myburgh. He's back. He's back with a bang this morning. And as we said, for those who've just joined us, Dr. Myburgh is from the Institute of Intelligent Systems from UJ, and he's joined by Izak Potgieter, who is a PhD candidate. I think he's studying under him, and he's also a VR developer. He's interested in developing VR and AI applications for education, cultural heritage, and information management appropriate to the African continent. Give me a big round of applause as we welcome them to the stage. Okay, so you have three things to share on your socials from the three talks this morning. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Izak Potgieter, and with Dr. Herman Myburgh, who needs no introduction, from the Metaverse Research Unit. We want to present the concept for an application that we've been working on at the Metaverse Research Unit here at UJ, automating academic referencing with AI. Let me just get this right. Okay. So the idea behind this app is to use AI to provide information on print text to assist in referencing. The app should be very simple to use from the user interface side of things. Essentially, you will scan the cover of print media or scan text of print media with this app. AI image and text recognition will then be used to identify the text, and a reference generated that can then be copied, exported, emailed, WhatsApped, however simplest for the student to then use, or the researcher, because that's definitely valuable as well. This will provide print media with the same easily accessible wealth of information and metadata that digital media enjoys. That's the idea. So using AI to make analog data more accessible, or giving it the same kind of advantages that digital media currently enjoys. Other use cases, before I go into the technical side of how this would work, are to help with the decline in the use of libraries due to the availability of digital media and readily available information. Many sources may not be available online, as we know, and we know that library sources should be as easily identifiable as digital sources. It can assist in the discovery of metadata for print media, an exercise which may be particularly difficult for partial, dated, or otherwise obscure sources unavailable online, the kind of sources that libraries can provide over digital sources. A way to provide an advantage to non-digitized libraries or catalogs. Essentially, through the use of AI, the digitization of non-digitized libraries can be partially automated. This AI tool will provide all the metadata that digitized libraries can provide for non-digitized libraries. These may include school libraries, university libraries that are non-digitized, or public libraries, as may be more common in the context of the Global South, for example, where a lot of these libraries simply haven't been properly or fully digitized. And we just had a discussion on the metadata not being quite up to scratch in a lot of these digitized cases as well. So plugging that gap potentially. This app may also assist in streamlining the referencing process, making it much faster than manually finding metadata online for print media found in a library. And then finally, referencing may be more accurate with AI than, for example, through the use of online reference generators, which are always following their own rules. And I think, as anyone who's taught will know, students, it's very easy to see when they use these online reference generators how things get bungled up and misused and so on. Or from copying references directly from other academic papers, which is also something that's common. And then you can't verify, or there hasn't been any process of seeing, is this reference actually correct? That's also something that I've come across in my teaching. So how will this physically work? It's still a proof of concept, and the app does not quite exist as indicated here, but this is the UI kind of mock-up for it. The app will require an internet connection, but will not be data intensive, which is important as well. Opening the app will ask you to scan your print media, much like opening a QR scanner app. The app will then identify your text and provide some basic information on it. If the text has been successfully identified, it will ask what style of reference it needs to create for you, and then the reference will be made and you will be able to copy it, email it, WhatsApp it, whatever's most convenient for you to access and then use in your research. So that's how it will work from the user perspective. I will now explain the technical processes happening under the hood, as well as how AI integrates into this process. So we will be using ChatGPT 4.0, so open access AI, and Python for the coding of the app. Firstly, a photo will be taken of the print media. That's the first step of this application. Next, the image undergoes analysis through OCR, or optical character recognition, using AI again, a process that singles out the letters and text in a photo and converts it into recognizable text that a computer program can then use to identify data. So turning an image into data. Next, the application will identify the recognized OCR text to locate a cover image, a DOI number, or an ISBN number from that text. If the photo is of generic text, then AI will be used to identify whether the recognized text can be used to identify that DOI number, cover image, or ISBN number. In the event that the AI search is unable to ascertain any metadata from a random text scan, then the user will be prompted to scan the cover image specifically, DOI number specifically, or ISBN number specifically, and try again. If a DOI number is identified, the DOI number will be accessed online and a citation extracted from the DOI metadata database. So the citation can then be directly extracted from that link. If the photo is of a cover image, then an image search will be done with a typical Google image search. AI will then be used to find relevant metadata from the identified cover image. If an ISBN number is identified, the app will do a Google search, and then AI will be used to identify the relevant metadata from the Google search. Ideally, the app will follow more than one path. If the same source is found using each of the three methods, then we can know that there's a high degree of certainty that the app has found the correct source. So there's some built-in accountability in this. If not, then the 2 or 3 sources found through the different techniques will be presented to the user, who can then select the correct one. So if each technique found a different source, then the user can make the final decision saying, no, this is the correct one. Although that should be quite unlikely, because these methods are all finding very specific directories and using very specific information, the DOI number, the ISBN, the cover image, which shouldn't get muddled up. One case may be incorrectly identified OCR from things like blurry images. So a prompt saying, your image is too blurry or text couldn't be identified should fix that case. Finally, the metadata identified from the cover image or the ISBN number will be used to populate the Zotero reference generator, making sure that our references are actually correct and follow the standards as they are in Zotero and not from some random reference generator or what it may be. And then you will have an output, which will produce the reference that, again, you can copy, email, WhatsApp, etc. So a relatively simple process with AI integrated throughout this application, used to make the data available for digital media, things that you find online, as accessible as print media. So thanks for listening. It was a short presentation of the idea. We hope to share the finished product with you soon. And my colleague, Dr. Myburgh, will now demonstrate the prototype of the app to show it in action.
So before I get to showcasing what we've done so far, I've got a confession to make, and I just want to hear from the library team, is this podium bulletproof? Because saying what I'm going to say now in an audience of librarians, that's one of the things that you should never do. But I can't remember the last time I actually cited a book that I borrowed. It's become so easy just to click a button and you download your RIS file that you can then load up to EndNote. And when Isaac and Alrina had this idea for this application, I thought, well, that's going to make me actually go out and use books again. Now, don't get me incorrectly. I love reading. I've got stacks and stacks of books at home, but citing them is a whole different ball game. So in our development, we are using Python. This is on the back end of the application that we'll be using. And what I'm just going to showcase is an article that we upload, and then I should, if the internet holds,
Has it been holding?
let's just check. So these were created beforehand. So I've got an article. Say, for instance, you've printed out an article, it's lying on your desk, and you need to get the citation for this. You can go and type everything into it, or you can just simply ask our application to generate an RIS file for you. And now EndNote is acting up. Sorry about that.
Again, this is why we're turning it into an app, so that it's much simpler than what you're seeing on the screen right now.
Exactly.
Just taking a photo instead of this.
So from that file that we uploaded, we get our RIS file, and it's got all the pre-populated information already there. Now we've also tested this in a few different aspects, so let's ask for another one. I'm going to do a book cover now. So this is a digital book. I believe it was published by Springer. So it's busy now connecting to our facility on OpenAI, busy interpreting the data, and as soon as it's done, we should see that, there we go, we've got our reference coming up. If we open this up in our reference manager, it will correctly import everything, but it's read that image that was just a photo that we downloaded from the internet, and it's generated an RIS file. Now, the third one that I did, just to show you that I do own some books, and let's see if I can blow this up, is a cover image of the Overstory, very nice novel, and the inside. By the inside, I've typically photographed as a student would do it, blurry and quite illegible. And even though it's blurred, it does give us all the information that's needed for an RIS file, and we can upload it onto that. And with that is our idea. So we're hoping to inspire people to go back to books. But yeah, we'd love to hear your questions and hear your feedback, because ultimately this is a very, very early stage application, and it might be that you think that this is absolutely absurd and we shouldn't be wasting our time. So you are the experts. We'd love your feedback on this.
So this may be a rather dumb question, as somebody who has loads of books and loves to still reference old books. So it doesn't matter what the font is like.
No.
And could it identify handwriting?
So we haven't tested handwriting. So that might be a good use case now for us during the tea break, is to quickly do it and see. And that's why we're here, because it's something I didn't think about. What we ultimately want to do with this application is, as someone that still loves to print out some of my articles, I want to see if we can't incorporate the fact that if you've stapled your paper, paper, or if you haven't stapled it and you only get the second page, if it can't identify the first page and get a citation from that as well. So ultimately, this application isn't for very organized people. It's for people like me who tend to just let things lie around. Yes, there's a question over there.
Good morning, everybody. My question is pretty much, is the technology that you're developing, is it only subject or available to the University of Johannesburg? Is it going to be, made available to the international community, or what? And is there maybe similar technology that's being developed elsewhere?
So a quick search of this idea has shown that there isn't currently similar technology to this. It seems like a novel thing that we're developing here and a novel way of using AI. In terms of its reach, that hasn't really been discussed yet. I think the best case scenario for us would be to have this done at UJ to see, are people using it? How are they using it? How can we adjust the app, kind of get into a trial phase with it? Is it actually of value the way that we imagine it being? And if it is, seeing if there's a potential to make it broader. So I think that's a great thing about working in university. You've got that space and time to develop and try and test, and then if you've got something, we can make it bigger. And of course, that would be the ideal situation, making this much larger, you know? But in our research for this app, we weren't able to find anything similar to this.
So I see there's a follow-up question there, and then there's a question from the back as well. I just want to clarify one thing. There is a little bit of a cost implication on this. So it works out to roughly 10 cents per image sent, 10 South African cents. So in making it open access and freely available, we'll need a big sponsor. But ultimately, I'm very much for open science. So my thoughts are to open source it and let people use it as they see fit.
Thank you very much for that. And my follow-up question is, how long has it taken you to actually make the progress that you've made right now? In case I want to, duplicate the same idea.
If you want to duplicate it, just contact me and I'll share the source code with you. Or we can work together on it to ultimately get it better. In terms of how long this took, I've been working on it non-stop since Saturday. So yeah, it's brand spanking new.